Let's start this video off with Wrecking Ball's primary fire, quad cannons. Good damage, bad weapon spread, even worse fall off damage, and a very slow reload speed. Moving on to his first ability, Transform, aka Ball Mode and Crab Mode. Ball Mode gives him increased movement speed and hides the hamster head, meaning there's no way to headshot the Hammond. While in Ball Mode, you automatically reload after a certain amount of time. Going in and out of Ball Mode while mid-reload will restart the whole reload process, so make sure to learn that timing, or you could just watch his ammo for the numbers going up. It's also worth noting, you reload slightly faster in Crab Mode. However, you also become easier to shoot at, so only go for the crab reload when you're not being shot at. That way, you become a harder target while rolling around. Now that we covered that, let's skip on over to the ability Pile Driver. To make it work, we just need to input crouch while having a certain amount of distance between ball and the floor. Landing the pile driver knocks up enemies in an arc towards ball. The damage starts at 100 and falls off the further you are from the target. Here's an important tip, you can roll off a ledge and pile driver back on. It's also faster to hold the pile driver input instead of spam pressing it. Now for the ability that makes Wrecking Ball a Wrecking Ball, Grappling Hook. Unfortunately, grapple does not work on floors or enemies. However, it still has plenty of uses. Grapple high for height, and grapple at ball level for speed. Once ball reaches a certain speed, he gets this fireball animation, which deals damage and knockback. You can hold onto grapple to do this multiple times with one cooldown, but be careful because there's a 6-second timer before it detaches. His last ability is Adaptive Shields. Upon use, Wrecking Ball gets 100 temporary health. He gets 100 extra health for every enemy within range. Also, if you didn't know, this indicator tells you how many enemies are within range. The best uses for this ability are during engagements. That means when you roll through the enemy team, or when you go for a pile driver. Pro tip, it's better to use the adaptive shields before the pile driver. That way any damage you take is on your temporary health. It's also worth using sometimes in 1v1s because you get a 200 HP bonus, but also because it gives the enemy less ult charge. Finally, we can move on to Wrecking Ball's ultimate, Minefield. As the name might suggest, Wrecking Ball poops out tiny balls that collectively make up a minefield. Upon using the ultimate, the mines shoot out the top of ball in a sprout or umbrella shaped formation. Minefield is also one of the few ultimates that you can immediately farm after using. The higher ball is when activated, the further the mines will spread. Very spread mines are harder for the enemy to destroy and avoid, but they also become less lethal since enemies are less likely to get knocked from one mine to the other. On the opposite end, close mines are very deadly, but easy to destroy and avoid. In most situations, you'll want the spread you get from a minimal height minefield pile driver. What's minefield pile driver, you might ask? Well, it's a combo as old as time, where basically you use minefield and then you pile driver. Who would have guessed? The idea is you get high enough for the mines to spread a bit, and then the follow-up pile driver basically makes it harder for enemies to get away before the mines activate. And just like that, you now know how to play Wrecking Ball better than most people in quick play. What's that? You want to play him in competitive? Huh? Slow down. I taught you how to play Wrecking Ball, not how to play tank. I mean, sure, technically he's in a tank role, but if you're just playing him without a brain, you're basically just playing DPS. But worry not, this next part of the video will teach you how to play ball like an intellectual. How to ball in Overwatch 2. The general idea can be summed up by the 3 S's: Scout, Setup, and Strike. I previously made a video on this in Overwatch 1, but here's the gist of it. Step 1. You want to start every fight by scouting what the enemy team is playing and where they are pathing. Step 2. With the information you get from scouting, you then want to get set up. This is just a simple way of saying to discreetly position yourself behind, at an angle, or just on high ground to engage the enemy. And last but not least, step 3. Strike the enemy. You can strike by rolling through them or flying in with a pile driver. Congratulations! You now know a very condensed version of how to ball in Overwatch 2. Scout, set up, and strike. Think you're ready to hit Grandmaster? Think again. That was just a simplified version of how to ball. If you really want to be a top baller, you're going to want to stick around for this next part. When playing Wrecking Ball, you're either an attacker or a defender. Let me explain. Starting with defender. When you win a team fight and your team has control over the objective, you have what's called defender's advantage, which simply put just means the enemy has to come to your part of the map. As Wrecking Ball, it's very easy to use third-person peek to scout where the enemy team is pathing. You'll want to then get set up near a place where that team has to squeeze through. And as they do, bam, that's when you strike. The reason you strike here and not over there is because here your teammates can actually shoot at them. Hey, look at that. We just made a full circle back to the 3-step thingy. I guess we're done here, right? No, that was the easy part. Now, how do you do this as an attacker? Whether it be a push map, an escort, a hybrid, a push map, you're going to want to remember one thing. Don't run it down main. There's a time and place for running it down main, but 90% of the time, you're going to want to path from the sides. The reason you do this is you need a setup to get value. Going main, every player on the enemy team is going to see you and click on you, whereas if you come from the sides, maybe 1 or 0 players click on you. And boom, you scout for your target and then you strike them. So when you think about it, attacking is almost like 4 steps. Setup, scout, setup, strike. Congratulations! You now mastered the 3 S's and you have a good grasp of both attacker and defender playstyles. So now, let's speedrun some special rules. When setting up, if you run into an enemy, ask yourself this: can I kill this person? If the answer is yes, then kill them. If the answer is no, then immediately run past them and grab health packs as needed. Which reminds me, health packs. Learn where they all are. These guys will probably heal you more than your actual healers. So when should you go back to your healers to get healed? Mostly when fights are over or all the health packs are on cooldown.
Yeatle, the scoped heroes, they're killing my whole team. How do I deal with it?
You deal with it. Dive the snipers as often as possible to give them as few easy shots as you can. They might get helped, which is okay. You're making space when you dive them, just don't die for it. Okay, one last thing before you come to my stream and say it.
Yeatle, there's only 1 tank now. My team just dies and asks me to swap shield. What do I do?
And to that, my friend, I say skill issue. Wrecking Ball is fast enough to do everything I mentioned before someone dies, so just pick up the slack. But in the event that you do lose someone early, that's where you have to make a judgment call to strike anyways or stay set up and wait for the regroup. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, Wrecking Ball in a nutshell. If you enjoyed this video, you can show your thanks by striking that like, subscribe, and bell icon. Be sure to comment what you think, and if there's any videos you'd like to see me do, let me know in the comments. And if you want to see me scout, setup, and strike live, be sure to catch me when I'm live at twitch.tv/yeatle. Link in the description. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys for hanging, and as always, good luck on the grind.